Hello and welcome to JungleStream. This is the Celeste, Rivas, Hernandez, and singer David D4VD story. The death of the young girl who became entangled with a rising singer has captivated millions. We all wait for the LAPD to provide an update on the cause of death, the names of potential suspects in her death, and the names of those believed to have dismembered her body in the aftermath. While we wait for this, many online have combed through past text messages, social media posts, and live stream videos of the pair to try to understand how they knew each other and what possibly could have happened between them. Join me as I take you through what we found online, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you're notified when new content has been uploaded. Thanks. This is the Celeste, Rivas, Hernandez, and David case. I'm sure you've already heard about the real-life horror story about Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the 14-year-old girl that was found dismembered on September 8th of 2025 in the vehicle registered to David Anthony Burke. I will be focusing on the alleged relationship between Celeste and David. The Tesla's front trunk held the lifeless body of a young teenage girl whose life was cut short. If the name David Burke sounds familiar to you, he is also known as a rising singer, David. He was a professional Fortnite-type player that created online videos and made money on YouTube since 2020, where he focused on creating Fortnite songs. He rose to stardom as he allowed all to use his music for free. His music and videos are mostly morbid and gruesome and center around death and obsession that younger generations can't seem to get enough of. His New World tour was cut short as news broke that his Tesla had become the final holding spot of the young girl with whom he is rumored to have had an intimate relationship. The more we learn about Celeste, the more we question why there have been no arrests at almost 2 months after her dismembered body was found. With the Tesla now being in the middle of a homicide investigation, David immediately hired a well-known Hollywood defense attorney, Blair Burke, and has gone radio silent. It's hard to know what the facts are at this time. There are many lingering questions. A lot is based on speculation and is alleged right now. My team and I have tried our best to corroborate the information, but it is important to mention that none of the online chatter has been confirmed by the authorities. Not because it's false, but because the authorities have been silent for weeks. While the Tesla was never reported as missing or stolen by David or by those in his inner circle, David's presence has not been required that we know of at the LAPD to this day. Nobody deserves what happened to Celeste. With every day that passes, the online rumors carry more and more weight. Was this little girl Celeste groomed? That is one of the many speculations circulating. Online researchers have been working hard at piecing together a timeline of what is believed to be Celeste and David's relationship. We know that Celeste was in the 7th grade and had been reported missing by her family at least 3 times in 2024. Based on what has been speculated, the missing reports started after she met David online. It's believed that she was seeked out while she was only 12 years old and was on a Fortnite video game group chat. Allegedly, David was chatting on Fortnite and asked if Celeste was amongst those who were online with him. Researchers were able to provide snapshots of David asking for Celeste. She responded to him shortly after, and it's believed that they then continued on to Discord. This is where many allege that the two began some type of relationship. We may not know if this was a suicide, a homicide, or an overdose, but there is at least the crime of concealing a dead body. So what is the LAPD waiting for? Is the LAPD waiting for a rock-solid, airtight case? Or why have there been no charges or anything on this case in almost 2 months? What is evident is that David seems to have received a 5-star treatment by the LAPD. There's a lot of frustration and anger, as many believe that if Celeste were not Latino and Hispanic, arrests would have been made weeks ago.
and if David were not black and rich, he would not be receiving this preferential treatment. Many echo that if a dead person had been found in the vehicle of an ordinary person, this individual would have been picked up immediately and taken to the police department to answer many questions. The public's indignation grows as each day that passes brings more uncertainty if they will even charge anyone, or if this will be one more of the many cold cases. The weeks of silence by the LAPD has many questioning if it's due to the fear of moving forward because of who David is. This is not the first time that the police department has failed Celeste. She had been returned to her parents' home from Hollywood by the police after she had ran away one of the many times to be with David. We all have questions. What did the police know at that time? Where exactly did the police pick her up? Did the police not investigate where this underage girl had been staying in Hollywood and with whom? With all the online information that we've gathered, it's becoming harder and harder to believe that everything dealing with David is a mere coincidence. It's becoming clear that Celeste and David had some type of relationship and that he knew that she was a child. He wouldn't have worked so hard to conceal her identity in photographs and videos otherwise. If this is in fact true, this precious child put her trust in a predator that used her and disposed of her. What is unclear is whether David met Celeste when she was 12 years old or earlier. But either way, it appears that she had an inappropriate relationship with him. Based on the online evidence, this appears to be a classic case of grooming. It appears that David's defense has been working overtime in putting scrutiny on Celeste and her family. Report after report seem to insinuate that Celeste's family's troubled history, marked by multiple police interventions, is why Celeste kept running away, when in fact, she kept leaving her home and those that she loved because David was already in her life. We all know textbook grooming. We know that predators take over their victims' relationships and manipulate them into believing that they are better off anywhere other than with their families. That is what predators do. They isolate their victims so that they become more dependent and easier to control. Instead of the media searching for answers from David, you have news and entertainment gossip channels running stories that seem to be working with David's defense, where they paint Celeste and her family in a negative way. Many stories blame Celeste and her family, but choose to not mention David's upbringing. They do not question David's parents on their son's alleged obsession with young girls and with death and violence. His family is not condemned for their contribution to David's demise as they do with Celeste's family. There's no questioning as to what could have pushed David into music that is so disturbing and sadistic. David's frame of mind is not in question, but you do have them reporting on what they state was Celeste's troubled home. The Epstein victims' families are not blamed for what they endured, but yet you have one of the hosts from TMZ state to a news reporter that they are looking into Celeste's family because it's clear that she was not in a stable situation. They do not report that those phone calls to the police were made after Celeste had already met David. This would be the time when she was allegedly being manipulated and groomed. Of course, her family called for the police many times. They had to. They were fighting a rich and powerful predator without their knowing it. ABC News Los Angeles reported on October 2nd, 2025, that deputies visited the home of Celeste multiple times over several years. The reporting stated that ABC News obtained a call log for the home of Celeste from 2022 through the first week of October 2025. Again, what this reporting failed to detail is if and when David actually met Celeste and how long they had already been in any type of relationship. There is a clear link connecting David to Celeste. Was it after they became friendly that the child of 12 years of age started to rebel and wanted to run away, and eventually did do so to be with him? It is mind-boggling that if this assumption is true, she was not only groomed and died, But she and her family are now being blamed for what her predator did to her. Unfortunately, this kind of thing happens as a direct result of the lack of information by the LAPD. While there is not much that the LAPD has disclosed at this time, we do know hard facts in the following dates, all of 2025. On August 26, a complaint was made about what was believed to have been an abandoned parked Tesla in the Hollywood Hills neighborhood where the singer David lived. We also know that on August 27th, a parking enforcement officer ticketed the Tesla and marked the car's position. On September 3rd, the officer issued another citation for the Tesla for violating a 72-hour parking ordinance. And 2 days after, on September 5th, the Tesla was impounded to the tow yard. On September 8th, Celeste's decomposed and dismembered body was discovered in the Tesla's front trunk. A foul smell had been detected coming from the vehicle by the yard's employees, and LAPD officers were called to the tow yard. When the police officers opened the front trunk, they found partial human remains wrapped in plastic. Just a few days later, it was confirmed that those remains belonged to the 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who had been missing since April of 2024. Her decomposed state suggested that her remains had been in that vehicle for weeks. The medical examiner's office said the girl was wearing a black tube top and black leggings, a yellow metal chain bracelet, and stud earrings. She had a tattoo on her finger spelling shh. That's SHHH. Her body was so badly decomposed that it wasn't fully intact. Police raided David's rented Hollywood mansion on September 17th. Officers collected electronics, phones, and computers. They also seized surveillance footage. The Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division released a statement on September 29th, where the cause of death on the death certificate was listed as deferred. The death certificate also notes that she was not and had not been pregnant in the last year. Apparently, the district attorney is waiting on toxicology results before this case moves forward. There are many lingering questions, but what is clear, however, is that a crime happened, and at a minimum, it's the concealment of a body, and not to mention the dismemberment of a body. On a professional level, everything has come to a screeching halt for David since the discovery of young Celeste's body. His tour was canceled, and he's pretty much gone into hiding. Brands like Crocs and Hollister dropped him just days after they had announced him as the face of their Dream Drop collaboration. All promotion for his upcoming album has been canceled, and he transferred 2 Texas homes to his mother. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of frustration with the lack of information by law enforcement, which has made chatter and rumors on the internet to grow at full speed. Online researchers have been working hard at tracking old messages in hopes of creating a timeline of what they believe to be a relationship between Celeste and David. They diligently have provided screenshots for past Discord chats, live streamed clips of the two, and even found old personal photos, which clearly show that there was some type of intimate relationship between Celeste and David, seeing that they were taken in one of the 2 homes that David resided in. TMZ reported that friends of David thought Celeste was older, even in college, and were aware that the two were in a relationship. They also acknowledged that both Celeste and David had that same SHHH tattoo on their fingers. Fans and online researchers have been diligent in combing through years of old messages on group chats while we wait for justice for Celeste. So let's further explore the theory that Celeste and David had known each other since 2022, which means that Celeste would have been 12 years old. If this is in fact true, then there is no doubt that David groomed her. David's own fans are piecing together the when and the how they believe was their meeting and how long they had been in a relationship. Pictures of a Fortnite online chat have been circulating where David asked, "Is Celeste here?" And where Celeste responded, "Hi, David Bark," spelled B-A-R-K-K. David admitted to being in a relationship with Celeste and that he and Celeste had a baby on the way in 2024 on his Discord account. Many individuals even commented on these chats that David only seemed to add young girls to his chats, and a few of them even called him out for being with Celeste, the missing girl. The last Twitch livestream was reportedly made in January or February of 2025. There's a clear degree of intimacy between Celeste and David in the video. They are seen chatting with fans, and where David says to Celeste, "I media trained you," while massaging her shoulder. She playfully responded, "No, you didn't," and further questioned if it was controversial to R-word kids. She bursted into a nervous laugh while covering her mouth. The livestream ended abruptly after, as they both laughed and told the mods to delete everything. The owner of the Hollywood Hills mansion where David resided, Madin Trifunovic, hired private investigator Steve Fisher to get more answers since the LAPD was not providing any information to him of what had occurred on his property, what had been taken, or a copy of the warrant even. On Jesse Weber's Law and Crime Sidebar show on October 17th, private investigator Steve Fisher stated, "There's some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at the house, that there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. And it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were ultimately planning to get rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot, and their timing was just off." What he seems to suggest is that they had perhaps run out of time. Fisher also confirmed that he has seen videos from neighbors' security cameras where he has been able to ID the last person that drove the Tesla to the very last location before it was impounded. He further stated that he has no evidence of Celeste's body being transferred before or after the Tesla was last moved. He also explained that the vehicle had not been used in a very long time based on the dirt piled on it. Based on earlier interviews with David, the black Tesla had been used a lot. David had mentioned to his fans that he had gotten it detailed, but then suddenly at the beginning of 2025, the same vehicle no longer was being used, and on February 1st, a red Tesla was leased. Fisher explains that the black Tesla with Celeste's body was last moved on July 29th at 11 a.m. to the location where it was towed, and a tour bus literally departed that same evening. He also told Jesse Weber that he was able to recover thousands of pictures and videos from many who came forward and shared their connection to Celeste and David from online chats such as Discord. None of the videos or photos collected by Fisher put Celeste at the Hollywood Hills mansion, but instead at another property not too far where it's believed that Celeste and David lived together. He believes that the last photo of Celeste is of January 2nd of 2025. Many believe that accomplices were most likely involved. The LAPD clearly also has the video of the last person who parked the car to that last location before it was towed to the yard. We want to believe that the LAPD is looking into a group of individuals as they actively work to bring charges. Celeste's community held a vigil for her family, friends, and strangers. Celeste's remains were returned to her family, and a funeral service was held on Monday, October 6th, at the Queen of Heaven Cemetery and Mortuary in Rowland Heights, California. So many failed Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It appears that so many knew about her relationship with an older individual and did nothing. David's group's silence today is their loyalty even when they know that what happened was not all right. Celeste met her tragic end surrounded by people who never cared for her, while her family had no idea that their beloved little girl had already departed from this earth. Her family still had hope that she would one day walk through their door. We all hope that this precious girl that grew up too soon at the hands of an evil predator receives justice. Regardless of how she died, someone or several individuals were involved in dismembering her body and concealing it. Celeste Rivas Hernandez will not be forgotten, a young teenager who had her whole life ahead of her. This heartbreaking story that started as a routine tow and spiraled into something horrific and tragic has us questioning so many things as we wait for some kind of justice.